It's gonna be a scrap, man. I know his wrestling is good. I know my wrestling is good. He has good counter wrestling. I have good counter wrestling. So it could very easily be a 3 round like strike battle. He's a vet. He's been fighting for years and years and years. So he's seen it all. He's done different styles. Like he's a vet. He's a true vet for sure. Nobody likes Tom. I
I
hate to
fuck with
say.
Tom, but yeah.
No, I think he's a great fighter for
Yeah,
sure,
but
but
he's young.
he's annoying as fuck when he gets so whiny about the whole Jon Jones thing. The fact that he's so big on John shows you that the company he makes the money. He brings it in, he brings the eyes, he brings the attention. Like he's a G. But Tom's not there yet. Yeah, hopefully he learns to shut up.
You were in the sauna. So like I
Yeah,
was like, this guy's got the shirt on in the sauna, why not just take it off?
you got girls coming in there and guys coming in there and like, it makes the guys they get a little like, offended because you have your shirt on. They walk in with their girl and they got their man tits and then you're in there like, cut up and then like they look at you weird and I'm like, bro, just stop.
All right, so today I'm joined with Damon Jackson. Welcome back, man. How's everything going?
It's going good, man. Been busy, but it's going good. How you been?
Doing great, man. Thanks for coming on. So you got the Jim Miller fight last week, so that's why we're having you on this week. Big name, right? Legend, and it's gonna be a return to lightweight in like probably like 5 or 6 years, right?
It's been a minute, man. I don't even know last time. It's been I think it was my UFC debut originally, like when I fought for them originally. So it's been a long time.
Like the first contract, right?
Yeah, like back in like 2015.
Okay. And then you moved down to featherweight after you like left the UFC or something like that, like after one or two
Oh,
fights,
I
right?
fought I fought one fight against Yancy Medeiros, and then I went down to featherweight right after that. So
Okay, got you. Okay, and then with Jim Miller, what were your kind of like thoughts on getting that opponent? Because like I said, you just moved up to lightweight, and it looks like they gave you a good name to start off with.
yeah, no, it just made sense. The whole thing was cool, but I didn't. I thought for sure they would give me some like no name, top 50 guy, like something like that, on a shorter notice, something like something that wasn't in my favor to like, have a big push, for, as far as rankings go and, for another big matchup. So the fact that they gave me Jim Miller is pretty cool because I know that he's from the area. He's from Jersey, so I know that he's gonna have a lot of fans there and stuff. But it's a really big fight for him, but it's a big opportunity for me as well.
Yeah, big fight for both of you. I think the matchmakers did a good job. They put two exciting fighters together. So I wasn't too surprised. I was like, oh, this is perfect. But you were a little surprised. You didn't think that they were going to give you like a top 20 guy, something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what like because they're not really big fans of you switching weight classes. Like I was contracted at 145, so that's usually what they expect you to make. They don't want you to be going up and down, a lot. So the fact that they like let me go up, I think it's because I took those two fights when both my guys missed weight. So the fact that they kind of gave me some credit for that. And so Sean told me, he said, as long as it makes sense, whatever you want to do next, just let me know. So I was pretty adamant about going up a weight class because it's just such a big cut. I'm walking around like 175. So cutting down to 145 is not easy.
Yeah. And I guess with prior, right, with your work at featherweight, it seems like if you were to ask me, I feel like because you put on exciting performances every time and you've taken these fights against guys who've missed weight, you don't complain, kind of like resembling a true fighter, right? Probably that's why they're rewarding you because you see, right? Even like if we're talking about this last weekend with Mario and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and even Pennington and Pena, there are fights that are taking place right now that aren't as exciting. And I think that's kind of taking precedent a little bit. Like we got to start getting these exciting fights together. We can't be letting these kind of boring fights be getting away with that.
Yeah, man. I don't know what the rules should be with that, but like if you're just taking someone down and holding them, like it's so boring as a fan, like watching it. Even when I watch the fights, I'm like, they got to be more active. Like you have to be, if you're on top of someone, you should be looking to ground and pound or looking for submissions the whole time. So whenever someone's taking someone down and just wrestling them and not doing anything, it's not a good look. But for decision wise, it shouldn't be counted for points. If they're just holding you down, they're not doing anything. It's just kind of like, no one's doing anything, so it should be stalemate kind of. They should stand them back up. But uh, I don't know what the rules should be. Honestly, there's a lot of changes that could be made, but that's definitely something they need to look into quickly because that the style of wrestling, people see how much control's there and they see how much they can, not get hit if they take someone down. So like they take people down, but then they have no jits game. They have no like top ground and pound. So hopefully they can make a change, but I don't know. Yeah, who knows, man? I don't know what the answers are.
Yeah. But to your point, I feel like because that's a good point. I actually heard I don't know if you were watching the Bisping podcast because Anthony Smith has a similar point to you. He feels like it should just be counted as zero. Like let's say there's a takedown that happens, but you don't do anything with it. Like the same way that the guy's not getting rewarded on the bottom for not trying to get up. If the guy on top isn't doing anything to progress, it should just be a zero. So, but for me, I feel like I've been saying just bring back that yellow card. Like Pride Days because in wrestling too, there'll be and jiu-jitsu tournaments. They're like a minute goes by and not much is going down. They're like, hey, break. You guys need to get the action going. You know what I mean? And then the aggressor obviously won't get a point deducted, but the guy who's not aggressing will eventually get a point deducted.
Yeah, no, I think that I mean there's definitely it just then you gotta have educated referees, you gotta have educated judges and things like that. So I think just like they're implementing new rules for sure. And I think that comes in like the whole grounded opponent with like throwing knees to the head and stuff. That comes in January, which is great. But like there's other rules that can be changed like that, but it's just gonna take time. This is a fairly new sport. So we're just getting into that like second/third wind of fighters and new styles. And so I think that they'll make the changes eventually.
Yeah. And just to give credit to one of the fighters on the card, we talked about before we started, but Buckley, right? He actually had a great way of like grappling because he had to grapple Wonder Boy, right?
A
He
little bit,
had to do
yeah.
that, but he made it exciting at the same time. He was using a lot of pressure, takedowns, letting them up, and then he actually fatigued him and got the knockout, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, it was an impressive performance by him because I wasn't sure he was gonna get that finish.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the fight a little bit with Jim Miller. How are you kind of seeing this one play out? You guys are both pretty much legends in the game. So yeah, how are you seeing it play out?
It's gonna be scrap, man. I have no clue. Like, I know his wrestling is good. I know my wrestling is good. He has good counter wrestling. I have good counter wrestling. So it could very easily be a 3 round like strike battle. So I'm planning for a hard 15 minutes no matter what. So if we have to wrestle over 15, I'm down. If we have to strike for 15, I'm down. So I really have no clue. Honestly, it's gonna be one of those fights that I have to get in there and make adjustments like on the spot on the fly because he's a vet. He's been fighting for years and years and years. So he's seen it all. He's done different styles. Like he's a vet. He's a true vet for sure.
Right. So this is gonna be like a real MMA fight. I feel like two guys who have just been locked in the game for a long time, right? So you guys both have the full skill set, and it's gonna be on display at UFC 309.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, man. I really am. This has definitely got me excited about just having a fight. It's cool.
And with okay, so there's a common opponent, right? You guys both got Alexander Hernandez. You obviously beat him, and then what's his name? Jim lost, but it was at lightweight for Jim and at featherweight for you. So people are probably gonna include like the weight cut had something to do with it. But based off of the techniques out there that you used and that Jim used on Alex, did you see any? Are you pulling anything from those fights?
Yeah, I think that Jim didn't grapple with Alex at all. He didn't take him down. He didn't have any control. He didn't like threaten him with any submissions until like the last 30 seconds. He caught him and then got his back because Alex slipped. So I think that my wrestling is better than his. I think that just being at lightweight, it makes me excited because I won't have that same fatigue going into the second, third round like I have been with the cut to featherweight is just too much. So it's nice to like have that like have my wrestling back and to have that cardio back. So I'll be looking to take the fight wherever it needs to go, but I know that I'll have to make it up as I go because he's going to be adjusting too.
Yeah, so a lot of adjustments in the fight, probably like multiple game plans are going to be executed.
Yep.
Okay, and with Alex Hernandez, that those two fights, do you have any confidence as far as like MMA math, I guess, being like Jim lost, but I won? Like, is there any confidence you have from that or not really?
Man, you can be the same fighter all the time, but you show up a little different every fight. So I can't hold that against him and think that since I beat Alex that I'll beat him, because it's Jim Miller. You know, he's fought a million times. He's, you know, been around the toughest guys. So it's just like, you know, maybe he didn't show up that night. Maybe Alex did. So, you know, it is what it is. I really think it's gonna have to be one of those fights where I have to make up my game plan as I go, and I can't mentally just stick with one thing and think it's gonna work the whole time. You know.
Okay. And I hear what you're saying for sure about like making up the game plan as you go. But also something like people have been talking a lot. It's more of a boxing term, but it's kind of coming into MMA now. The blueprint, right? And like we're talking about Alex, he got the victory over Jim. You said Jim didn't really grapple him. Is there a blueprint out there on how to beat Jim at all, or what do you think about that thought?
I mean, you can definitely like pick things that people do for multiple, like when you watch multiple fights. I wouldn't say just the one performance against Alex, but like, you know, there's things that I see in multiple fights that he does that I can capitalize on. But you know, it's just that's the name of the game. Like you're gonna do it for a little while, and then he's gonna have to adjust. And with him having as many fights as he has, I know he's gonna adjust, and I know his camp's gonna be there to, you know, tell him what to do as well. So, you know, it's gonna be on the fly, making it up as I go the whole time. I think it's not gonna be an easy fight at all. But you know, I'm definitely excited about just getting in there and getting to level up to that, you know, fighting a guy that's had that many fights, you know, in the UFC and stuff, and just all the experience he has. So it's pretty cool to be a part of it.
Okay. And with his last fight with Bobby Green, did you have any takeaways from that? Obviously, it was a rough fight from him for him. So he might be coming in here a little bit like I don't know if he has residuals, you know what I mean? But how do you kind of view that last fight?
I mean, it's Bobby Green too. Same thing. It's like Bobby Green's he's been around for a minute. So I think, and you know, he's got that crazy knockout power. And you know, like I think you got to respect his performance against him because Bobby Green's no easy task. And the fact that, you know, they didn't get a finish is something that like you can't hold it over either one of their heads because I mean Jim's got that great wrestling you got to worry about, so Bobby couldn't really let go, and then you know, Jim couldn't take Bobby down because Bobby was doing so good about his movement and stuff. So I think that there's definitely stuff you can pick apart from it, but both guys are vets and both guys have, you know, a little bit of everything. So I think that Jim's just that guy that shows that he's durable. You know, he's very durable.
Okay, so yeah, it's definitely something to prepare for, plan for, right? Is a durable freaking opponent.
Yeah, 15 minutes for sure.
Yeah. Now, also, he, like you said, also in his hometown, kind of, or down the street, he's obviously getting up there in age. He's one of the longest tenured fighters on the roster. Do you
Yeah.
feel like he might end up retiring after this? Like, is this, you know, you'll hear fighters say, like, I'm going to send him into retirement, shit like that. I'm not trying to get you to say that, but any thoughts on this, how this could maybe be his last fight? It looks like it's teed up for him in his hometown, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if it's his last fight, that's cool to tell. Like that, I'm getting to fight him before he goes out. But he's still dangerous as hell. Like he might be 41, but that dude, he's you know he's been doing this forever. And it's like you know, the older I've gotten, like I've realized that like you know, my body still feels pretty damn good for, you know, my age is 36. It's like as long as you're staying active and you're staying busy, you can make this sport last a long time. You just got to make sure you're not taking the damage and stuff. And you know, for him being 41, he still looks pretty damn fresh to me. He still has that power. He still has good wrestling, good defense, and there's definitely threats that are still there. So it's not like I'm going into this fight thinking he's 41, it's gonna be easy. Like I'm 36, so it's like he's tough as hell. I'm tough as hell. It's gonna be a fight for sure.
Right. And okay, last couple things I have for you. Moving up to lightweight, how's everything feeling? It's been a few months now. You're just kind of starting training camp, so you haven't fully started cutting, but how you feeling? Bigger and stronger? You've been working out and stuff too?
Yeah, I'm not. And the thing is that like I won't cut at all really until like you know, maybe 2 weeks out. I'll start kind of like coming down a little bit just to make sure my weight's good. But like, you know, if I walk around 175 and my max, my heavy, like the heaviest I get's like 180, but that's like if I'm like bloated and, you know, eating and drinking whatever I want. So that cut, I usually cut down from 173 to 145. So that cut to lightweight's going to be a joke. Even if I weighed 180, it would still be a joke. It's just different. It's just different, you know. So I'm so excited because I used to do test weight cuts. I'd say every 2 weeks I did a test weight cut, and I would on a Thursday I would get all the way down to 155, and I did that about every 2 weeks, and that just kept my weight low. It kept my mindset to where I could make weight anytime I wanted. It kept me ready to go. But now that I'm going up to that weight class, if I wanted to do a test weight cut, I could be down in like a couple hours. So, like I'm just excited, man. It's like it's gonna be so much better on my body. I'll actually be able to sleep during fight week. Normally the whole week I probably get about you know 2 to 4 hours a night max, and then on the day before weigh-ins I don't sleep 1 second.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you'll be coming in there a lot fresher. And like we talked about in the last interview, cardio is a big play with getting rest. So I'm sure you'll have a
Yeah.
good gas tank going into the fight.
I hope so, man. This is definitely a big test for me, just mentally and physically moving up. And I just want to make sure my body's still good to go. And I'm excited about the move.
Yeah. What are you gonna be like when you get to fight week, I guess? Are you gonna be around like 170, 175 and cut 20 pounds, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, because I don't like walking around below 170. So I'll be definitely, I'll be like probably 75, maybe a little less, like 73. But not much, man. I feel great here. I feel so healthy, and like I was saying, I used to do those test weight cuts all the time, and I could get down to 155 in about 6 to 8 hours, and um, that'll be no problem for me to get down. So I know that I could, be heavy all the way until that Wednesday before I cut. So,
Gotcha. And have you been lifting at all or doing anything extra? Maybe
uh,
like eating
dude,
more
so
food, like more
much, so
carbs?
much. Yeah, it's crazy because like I used to be in a calorie deficit 4 days a week, and I would only eat heavy on the days that I sparred and I did my sprint work, and so like I go from eating like 1,200 to 1,700 calories. That was what I was eating per day, and now I'm eating about 3,000. Maybe some days I hit 4,000, but I'm eating about 3,000 calories a day now, and that alone has it's changed my training. It's changed my mentality. It's changed my attitude, my brain function, like my overall function. Period. It's like so much better eating food. Like it's so crazy how deprived I was at featherweight.
Right. And the training sessions too, right? You got to be able to be like pushing yourself like to the
Yeah,
limits this time instead of like just getting
yeah.
the weight down and losing weight, you know?
I know. It's literally like every fight camp's about losing weight and like prepping for the weight cut. That's how it's always been really my entire career. But this last 6 fights have been rough weight cuts. So I've had to really like the last 3 weeks of camp, I've had to like really kind of back off everything because I was so exhausted because I was cutting weight and getting ready for the big weight cut. So, it's just nice to be up and be natural and get to lift weights and be athletic again. So, I'm just excited, man.
Awesome, man. Okay, well, final things I got for you then. Just want to touch on like the Jon Jones fight because that's the big card that you're fighting on. Um, I'll be honest, maybe it's gonna make me look bad, bro. I think I completely missed that announcement with Jon Jones. Did you see this announcement when Jon Jones and Stipe like was officially booked?
Yeah, I did see it, but it wasn't. I think it's kind of one of those things where like people know that he's gonna fight eventually, but I think that no one's really like because it's always been like he's here, he's not, he's here. It's like Connor fight. Like whenever that fight gets announced, I think it'll be the same thing. Like I think people don't really believe it until it's like happening. But
Yeah,
I think that it's just it's time for him to fight for sure, and I hope that it's both their last fights and that they have a good fight, good performance on both sides, and they're both done after this fight. But he's had such a great career, so yeah, I know people are going to be there, and it's going to be a huge draw. So I'm excited to be a part of it for sure.
yeah. I think I saw because I looked it up, wondering like when I missed this announcement. I guess Dana said he's fighting Stipe on like a complex interview. So it's just like in passing, he's like, yeah, John's gonna be fighting Stipe at UFC 309. I guess there
Yeah,
still hasn't really been like an official like big announcement, but I looked on Tapology and he's on there and shit. So I guess it's announced, but it wasn't. It was like a really lackadaisical announcement.
yeah. I think it was like a post-fight interview. He was like reading off his different announcements, and they did it that time. But I think the same is like people don't want to waste the time and waste the money on the announcement if it's not going to really happen. But it's happening. I know for sure. Like for sure, he's ready to go. So it's happening for sure.
Right. But yeah, even before this morning, like once I started looking into the fight card a little bit more, I was just assuming in my head because it had also been mentioned a lot that Jon was fighting in December at UFC 310. So in my mind,
Oh,
I was thinking that, and then but it's 1 month prior at UFC 309.
yeah.
Right. And I saw a comment, so I just want to get your thought. You probably can't have like a well developed thought on it, but just curious because I was like intrigued a little bit. You see that Jon Jones training footage with Gable Stevenson or
Maybe
no?
on Instagram. I seen part. I
He
think I
just
saw that.
posted it last night, so you
Oh
would have had
no.
to see it
Oh,
today.
yeah, no.
Okay, so he just posted some training footage with Gable Stevenson. The funny part about it is that like he freaking almost flying kneed Gable and knocked him out, but everything was all good. But somebody commented, and I was like, oh, that's kind of
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, no, I did see
You
that.
saw
Yeah,
that,
I
so
did.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
just training with them.
yeah, yeah.
But somebody commented, and it was an interesting comment, so I just want to get your thought. They said that the fact that he's training with Gable for the Stipe fight is kind of alarming, and they feel like he might be training for like Tom Aspinall right now, and like low key Stipe might be out because he's training with like an
Uh,
elite grappler. I was like, damn, that's a good thought.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I mean, John's smart, so he's a smart dude. I don't know if that, like, he might know something, but I feel like Stipe's in, like, he's ready to go. So I think that, like, and it's not like he's gonna get another shot at anybody else. So the fact that he's getting the biggest name, the biggest draw, the biggest card, like, I think that he'll stick around unless the UFC doesn't want him there. But I don't think the UFC wants Jon Jones to lose to Tom, and I think that's going to be a tough fight for him if he does fight Tom. That's a tough fight for him, and I think that they would rather have like him fight Alex than fight Tom. I think that they would like to see Jon Jones versus Alex, but that I don't think that could happen either. But I mean, if they were going to make a some crazy move, that's what it would be. But I think Jon Jones and Stipe have to fight, kind of.
Yeah. Honestly, though, with that said, I feel like because the selling point with that one is literally for the greatest fighter probably in the history of the world, right? If it's Steve,
Yeah,
not Stipe, if it's Jon versus Poatan, because
yeah.
Poatan would become a three-weight world champion, and then Jon Jones with everything he's accomplished to beat that guy who's coming up, that would define the best fighter like of all time, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I
I
and
think that could surpass Tom for sure, because Tom's only interim, and you got Alex, who's the real
I,
champ.
nobody likes Tom. I
I
hate to
fuck with
say.
Tom, but yeah,
No, I think he's a great fighter for
yeah,
sure,
but
but
he's young, you know.
he's annoying as fuck when he gets so whiny about the whole Jon Jones thing. It's like, I'm like, you're not gonna say anything that's gonna draw him out to fight you at all. Like if he wants to fight you, he'll fight. And if he doesn't, then just shut up about it because it's not gonna happen. And you just look like he looks like petty. But I'm like, I get what he's saying, and for sure he should be called the champion for sure. But the fact that he's whining and complaining about Jon fighting Stipe. Like that fight was already booked before he was even interim champion. And the reason why it didn't happen is because Jon got hurt. That happens all the time. Like people get hurt all the time in MMA. So it's not like he's inactive and everybody gets pissed when Dana says he's the greatest of all time. Like he is. He's the pound for pound best guy because he is active. He's got a fight coming up. He's active. He's fought recently. It's just like it's annoying because you see guys like Alex come in and now everybody thinks that he's pound for pound, but he's not. He hasn't been tested against all these different styles, and he hasn't finished all these different people and done it at two weight classes for 10x years. Like Jon Jones is the greatest of all time, and he's pound for pound the best guy. But I just hope that he fights his fight and he's done. But if he stays around, I hope that it's the Poatan fight and not Tom.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, shit. I kind of hope it's the Alex fight too now, because that's a great selling point. You know.
I think that should be the BMF right there. Like
Right.
that would be a dope BMF fight, but who the fuck knows, man?
Because it's also two guys who have transcended weight classes. Jon moved up to heavyweight, and then Alex moved up two divisions.
Yeah,
But okay, you're gonna get me going a little bit. I'm gonna wrap it up in like a few minutes. But because you said the part about like how people don't want how Jon's the pound for pound, right? Pereira just
yeah,
won, obviously, so it's recency bias a little bit. I'll be straight up. So because people like if we disagree a little bit. I think that right now as we speak, Poaton's probably the best pound for pound fighter because of the activity. But
yeah.
if you're going overall, Jon Jones is the GOAT, right? You can't say that Pereira is the GOAT. But what do you think? Do you think Pereira is like pound for pound right now? Because Kamaru Usman
Yeah,
thinks that, but Henry doesn't. Henry Cejudo.
yeah, I think he is. I think that what he's done is fucking crazy. And I don't know what he would do against what's the Russian dude's name?
Ankalaev.
The Ankalaev. That's gonna be a tough fight. But like I don't know, man. Alex is so damn good, so it's impressive to see. But I think, yeah, maybe he kind of is the pound for pound. But I think that the fact that John's got a fight coming up, you can't really replace him as pound for pound or the GOAT or any of that stuff. Like if he goes out there and beats Stipe, then he's retired. Then you move a guy like Alex in there for pound best for sure. But I think right now it's still John. You know, I honestly think that just because of his accolades and the amount of years he's been doing this sport, and at the highest level, he's a champion at 23, and I think he's 36 or 35.
Mm-hmm.
I
Something
mean,
like
that's
that.
fucking crazy. You know,
Yeah. When I was in
crazy.
like high school, my older brother was telling me about John, and he's still fucking doing it. Um,
Yeah.
with Jon Jones and Stipe, do you have a prediction for that fight? Because people love to hear that.
Jon Jones for sure, like 100%. You know, because if John needs to wrestle, he'll wrestle. If John needs to like throw some crazy spinning elbow, he's gonna do it. If he needs to hit like some unorthodox kick, and he can do it. And Stipe, you know, he's tough, and he was durable. He was tough, and who knows what he's like gonna be like now. But I think he has too much to worry about with John's wrestling and grappling, plus his striking is just freaking insane. And it doesn't matter. Him being a heavyweight, it's just it's like it would be like Alex. If Alex went up to heavyweight, I think he'd be a big. It'd be like the same as John going up because he has so many different threats, and those guys at heavyweight just aren't as technical as the smaller guys. And that's just how it is. So when you're a smaller guy and you're able to actually go up in weight, you know, you can do some good things because you know people just aren't. It's like as you go up, the technique is a little bit less everywhere. So John's got the wrestling, jits, and striking, and Peloton's got the striking and he's got pretty good counter wrestling. So I think that that's a fight right there.
Okay. And I kind of think that here's my thing. You don't have to give me a full opinion on it, but I feel like John and Stipe, there's this X factor where like John is coming off of a surgery. And I've heard several times that like surgeries kind of lead to like other lingering issues. So I feel like there could be a chance, right? He is recovered from the pec surgery, but who knows if he's got like some issues in his lat or like his shoulder, something that's like residual from right here, you know?
Yeah,
And then you got Stipe, who's actually been off for a long time. And you see it often like when a guy has like a fully healthy body to come in and fight, they can give it their all, you know? And if so, that's what I'm thinking. It might be an X factor where Stipe's had a lot of time to recover. He's going to come in fully healthy. And then you have John coming in off of a surgery. So that's
yeah,
just like a little intricacy on how much they can push, you know,
yeah,
when the going gets tough.
yeah. I mean, there's arguments to be made on both sides of that, but I think that it's gonna be this is gonna be a great fight. I think CBA still got it. I think John still got it. I think the UFC wouldn't put it on the line like that for either one of them if they both weren't ready. You know, there would be something else on the side that the UFC would pull to make sure that fight didn't happen if they didn't want it to happen. And I think that they're both ready, and that's the fight that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to pull Tom in. I don't think they don't want Tom beating John for sure.
For sure
I
not.
don't. I for sure not. I think Tom's a great fighter for sure. I
Yeah.
think he's awesome, and he'll be a great fighter for sure for years. But they don't want Tom beating John. You know.
Yeah, because there's some people out there. They're like the UFC hates their legends. Like they always want to build them up off the young guy and shit. But you're kind of like, no, I think they fuck with John a little bit more than Tom right now for his body of work.
100%. Like not
I
even
would
close.
agree.
You look at Dana. Dana runs that. He runs the shit. He does everything. So like the fact that he's so big on John shows you that the company, he makes the money. He brings it in. He brings the eyes. He brings the attention. Like, you know, he's a G, and you can't argue that. But Tom's not there yet, and yeah, hopefully he learns to shut up.
All right, got you. Last thing, so do you always cut weight? This is just a funny one. You always cut weight with the wife beater on or what? Because I saw your story today.
I work out a lot with the white beater on, and
Okay.
so because it's like I don't like I have tank tops made with my gym logo, and so I either wear that or I wear a white beater when I'm working out, and like a lot of times I just wear them around, like I just wear them a lot. Like today I wore this because it's kind of cold this morning because
Yeah.
I get up like 4:30 in the morning, it's colder, and then now it's like hot as fuck. It's like in the 80s, like 85. So it's like this is too hot, so I want to throw my white beater on right now. So
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
I wear them a lot. Yeah.
No, I was saying though, because I saw you in this. My point was you were in the sauna. So like I
Yeah.
was like, this guy's got the shirt on in the sauna. Why not just take it off?
I don't like, you got girls coming in there and guys coming in there, and like, it makes the guys, they get a little like, offended because you have your shirt on. They walk in with their girl and they got their man tits, and then you're in there like, cut up, and then like they look at you weird, and I'm like, bro, just stop. Like I just don't like having my shirt off. So but yeah.
155 Damon, you got to kind of like cover up a little more for the guys out there.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to get like, I'm starting to feel like I'm like having a hard time walking through doors and shit. So yeah.
Got you, got you. All right, bro. Well, hey, thanks again. Good luck in training, and I'll be looking forward to the fight for sure.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
You too. Later.
Later, Damon.